welcome back to my channel. I have missed you guys so much, but the month of November had me in a chokehold. Okay, I'm talking, I got a test every Tuesday. These tests are about 3 units. In those 3 units, I have anywhere from 1 to 8 chapters per unit to read, and we're condensing that into 65 questions. On top of that, whatever assignments we have to do, whether it be a med map, whether it be a concept map, a prep U, a pigmonic, all of these things are due, and I had no time. I had no time to breathe. So much less to edit a video. So for that, I apologize to you guys, but this is a real quick drop in to tell y'all, hey, I am not going nowhere. I am right here. I'm posting this today. This is a quick post. This is my breathing moment during studying, so we're all good here. If you're new here, my name is VaneSSuh. I work in corporate America by day. I'm a nursing student by night, and 24/7, 25/8, a single mom, ripping and running, we doing it. Yeah, this is the real deal, and this video today is basically, I'm giving y'all study tips. I'm giving y'all how to make your nursing school experience better. I don't want to say easy because that's subjective. And without further ado, let's get started. So the first thing I want you guys to do, and this is something that I already knew, but you know, it's a good refresher. What is your learning style? You need to know your learning style. Or are you an auditory? Do you have to see it? Do you like, you know, do you need to read? What do you do that helps you learn? Now, most people will say, oh, I'm a hands-on person. Great. Not everything is hands-on. So if you don't have that option, what is your backup plan? You might say visual. Okay, cool. If you don't have that option, what is your plan? Now, I get it. One of these will be your main go-to, but my point being in figuring out your learning style is sometimes your learning style is not available to you. It doesn't matter how much you try to make it available, it's not available. And with that being said, you're sitting there panicking because you can't get this information or because that's not how you learn. So with nursing school, in addition to learning your learning style, it is imperative that you are flexible. Okay? Be flexible. So with me, certain things, I could read it and I got it. Certain things, I need, run that back, I need to see that again, you know? Because sometimes I'm in my head, in lab. For example, drawing medications, which I would do. Okay, I can draw medications. Insulin. Draw up clear to cloudy, right? Right. So for some odd reason, I know that. Draw up clear to cloudy. But then they say, you know, insert air. And I'm like, okay, insert air, clear to cloudy, right? It was giving me a run for my money. It was giving me a run for my money. Basically, either way, it's correct, clear to cloudy. However, an easier way to do it without dulling your needle would be, let's say, if you needed to inject 12 units of insulin, 6 being regular, 6 being immediate acting, which is the cloudy one. So it's 6 and 6. So I would get 12 units of air. I would dip it in my cloudy first, and I would shoot 6 units of air in the cloudy. Then I would take it out, and I would put the 6 units in the clear, and draw up 6 units while it's still there. Take it out, draw up cloudy, 6 units. For some odd reason, people saying it, I wasn't it wasn't connecting. And I'm like, show me again, run it back. Like, but you know, that's what you have labs for, to learn. And other people, I don't know why I wasn't connecting that day, but it maybe exhaustion, it wasn't connecting, but I got it. You understand what I'm saying? With your learning style, you definitely want to be adaptable. You're not always going to have your learning style available, but being open to other learning styles, you know, you open up your brain more, and you less panicking, because this is a concept where you have to get down. Now, within your class, you might have people with the same learning style as you, which is great. Start a study group. Start a study group. Start a study group. Start a study group, because in nursing school, you are not going to get every concept. Now, there are people who ace every last test, who get straight A's. This is not hard for them. They walk on air when it comes to nursing school. I'm not talking to you. Congratulations. I'm real happy for you. But the people who are like me, who are like, wait a damn minute, run that back again, start a study group. But in your study group, you have people who learn the same style as you, but you also want a mixture. Because when you have a topic that someone gets quicker than the rest of you know, the group, you want that person to be able to reiterate and teach it in different ways. Having those different study styles and people within, you know, that group to be able to teach back to you, to break things down in different styles and different methods so you can get a concept, we need more of those. We tend to go in study groups with people who obviously we get along with, which we want, people who we feel really close to, which we want. However, are you actually studying in those groups? Or are they more like your friend? You understand what I'm saying? Like, you get close to people where, you know, okay, come on guys, we have to study, and then it goes off into a tangent. No, we are here to study, okay? Yes, when we take we're in it for an hour, and then we're gonna go into our break. Yeah, we can laugh. But studying, I need it to be straight on topic. I need it to be relatable. We have to be straight. Because once you start getting into the habit, like we're doing a study group and y'all not really studying, and then y'all looking at each other at these tests, like, but we studied, but did you? Again, it requires a lot of discipline on everybody's end. And if you feel that study group is not working for you, please don't feel obligated to stay there. Please bow out gracefully and go somewhere else. Now, with study groups, I would say definitely you want a minimum of 2, because obviously you and another person, but no more. I want to say no more than 4, but I've seen 6. And again, that requires discipline, because everybody is different. Everybody learns different. Everybody is not hyper-focused on learning right now. Some of your classmates have ADHD. I'm not kidding. It's undiagnosed. I'm not kidding. And I'm not even being mean about it. Squirrel. Like, and you have to redirect them. You know? Like, I'm telling you, these are things that you see. And I'm not saying you have to be hard ass all the time. I'm not saying that you have to, you know, kind of be the mom or the dad of the group to be like, hey, come on, let's get back on track. Every group needs one of those, by the way. However, that does take time away from you studying, and, you know, it gets exhausting after a while. So when you have more people like that, you're gonna see it start to dwindle down, because those personality types aren't clicking. I've seen it. I lived it. I've witnessed it. That's why I'm coming here to tell you. I say no more than 4. And that's a good mix, because you can easily teach back things. Use your resources. That is the biggest thing. Use your resources. In nursing school, use your resources. Now, I personally feel like you have YouTubers who will tell you work ahead. For my particular program, I can't work ahead. Let me explain. I can't work ahead for the simple fact that we are the guinea pigs to a hybrid learning style nursing school. Like, this is the first year. We're the guinea pigs. So everything in Blackboard, yes, is tailored. Yes, we have assignments due, but literally the instructor has to go in there, take out, put in, like, you know, she's trying to devise a good curriculum or revise it to work for hybrid. So whatever unit we're doing, that's the unit we're on. The day we get tested for it, literally after we finish the test, we wait about 15 minutes. Everybody's done. We have our break and we go into the classroom to learn about the next unit. That's when we're learning about it. So you can read ahead. However, for me, I don't have that option right now. So I can't speak too much on you reading ahead or how you would do that until we get this workaround in my school. It's like, hey, surprise, this is what we're learning this week. Like, you know what I'm saying? But if you have the opportunity to work ahead without making your life more difficult than what it needs to be. The next best thing I would say to you would be this Saunders book. Whether you're a PN or RN, invest in it. Invest in it. It's on Amazon. It's probably, I think, about $48. I'll include the link below. But for real, invest in it. Because these are the type of questions, I'm not even kidding. There's questions in here. Before you even get to the questions, I think it's chapter 3. It tells you how to answer NCLEX styles questions. Because I told you in nursing school, everything is critical thinking based. It's not no, hey, what is insulin? ABCD. No, it's a scenario of you just took a blood glucose of your client at this time. It read this. Do you hold or do you have insulin? Do you hold the insulin or do you give the insulin? Do you report to the doctor? Like, there's an entire scenario, and every last one of those questions are correct. They're correct, but only one is right. That sounds crazy, but it's true. Only one is correct. Now, this book, when you get it, read, is it chapter 3? Because I'm gonna tell y'all the right chapter. I'm sorry, it's chapter 4. You know what? It's chapter 3 and 4. Yeah. Chapter 3 and 4, mostly 4, is gonna tell you what to look for. And a lot of people we skip over this chapter because we try to get to the nitty gritty of it. But had you literally read this chapter, it tells you to look for words. Like, you're looking for words like, what is your initial response? Like in the question, you're gonna read the question, then you're gonna get to the stem of the question. The stem of the question is like what you're answering. And then you have your answers, right? So in there, the stem of the question, the last bit of information, is going to tell you which is the best response. What would be the nurse's first response? You are looking for those keywords to help you eliminate the right answers, but get the best answer. Also within there, nothing in nursing is absolute. When I say that, put an @ on there. When I say nothing is absolute, I mean in your answer, if anything says it never, it's always, it's this, eliminate it. Take it out. Take it out. You don't want it. You don't want it. Because every situation is different. You're not going to be facing the same situation all the time. Every patient is different. Every client is different. Everything, every doctor is different. The nurses are different. Nothing is absolute. There are guidelines, but nothing is absolute. So this chapter tells you, like, this is what you need to look for. This is what you, like, you know, and most people skip over it, and I really feel that is a big, big part of learning how to answer NCLEX style questions, especially on your exams. Because the teacher, the instructor, is giving you NCLEX style questions in which we all need to answer. You're being prepared to take the NCLEX. You understand what I'm saying? That book right there, it's gonna give you the foundation of what you need to look for. Even if you don't know what is going on in the question. And that's another thing, like, don't spend hours on a question. I know I'm exaggerating. Don't spend too much time on a question. Like, one, your test is timed 9 times out of 10, and if you spend too much time on one, you start doubting yourself. We don't have time. Literally, we don't have time for that. And that goes into another one. Usually the first answer you pick is usually the correct answer. When you stare at that question a little bit too long, and I'm not saying don't stare at it, I'm saying read that question. You're gonna read it once, you're gonna read your answer key once. You're gonna go back to that question, you're gonna read it again, but you're gonna read what is this question asking you, which is the stem of the question, which is the last part of the scenario. It'll say, what is the initial response? Whatever that question is, that's what we gotta answer. And then based on that, just look at your answer key. What can you eliminate off rip? All right, like, we need to go. If you're ever stuck between two, look, which is the best, which is the initial. You know, you have to put your ad pie in there. You know, you got to do your ABGs, like, you know, your ABCs. Like, you have to be a critical thinker to answer these questions. So for example, if something's caught in the client's trach gets dislodged, it's like, hey, call the physician. Yeah, you're gonna call the physician, but right then and there, when the trach gets dislodged, are you yelling for him? Because the doctor could be home, he could be with another patient. What are you doing to make sure your client stays safe and alive to the best of your ability? You're going to begin manually pumping air into them. Yeah, you're gonna call the doctor. But before we get to that, hold up. Like, you understand what I'm saying? Like, it's a lot of scenarios that you're gonna come across. You might not get it right all the time, but to spend too much time on one question is going to take away the time you have for other questions. And also within your self-esteem, it is going to chip away at it, because you sit in there like, oh my God, I can't. That already affects how many more questions you got. So now we're changing your mood. You went in there confident, and now you're like, now the anxiety is building. We don't got time for that anxiety to build. Come on, let's go. If you really don't know what's going on and you can see your way out, it's one question. Yes, one question can make or break you, but we need to focus on other things. That doesn't mean see the whole test. Like, we know things. And can we get into how much information you actually know? Like, you can sit down and read in chapter and be like, I don't know what's going on. But then you're doing things. You don't realize how much you know. After studying, you're like, oh my God, I can't get this concept. But you're getting the concept. You're speaking what you're supposed to do with the concept. You understand? Don't doubt yourself. Really be centered in your work. Be centered in your work. Have confidence in yourself. Think about it. When in doubt, talk it out. I'm not kidding. We had a simulation, and it was our final sim, and it's MedPass. So I'm supposed to be doing injections, intramuscular, subcutaneous, intradermal. I'm supposed to give oral meds, and I have to know my patient's meds, what my patient's allergic to. Like, I have to know my patients while I'm giving this. I'm being monitored because next semester I'm passing meds. So my clinical instructor is hearing me talk through it. Like, I'm literally looking, I'm like, okay. And they try to trip you up, not in a bad way, but it's safety checks. My client was allergic to penicillin. They have him on amoxicillin. First thing I said when I read that, I was like, he's allergic to penicillin. I am holding that because you have me messed up. You will not have an allergic reaction or die on my watch, not on my license. And my instructor was laughing, and she was like, you know, I love the way you talk to yourself. And I was like, but you have to. Sometimes it's easier if you talk it out, because you're sitting there reading it, trying to be like, oh my God, say it out loud. Even on the test, whisper it to yourself. I promise you, things start clicking, that oil starts moving, those wheels start going. Say it out loud. What's being asked of you? Literally the entire lab, I was talking to myself. She could have asked me questions, because, you know, you get quizzed on certain things, but I was going through the motions so bad talking to myself. She was just there listening to make sure if I said anything wrong, she paused and corrected me. Or she would just test my knowledge on, okay, well, you know that, but you're giving digoxin. What lab would you look at? Like, think, would there be any blood work? Would there be any labs? Would you hold it? If you're giving them digoxin and lorazepam, what would be your nursing consideration? What would you look out for? And I'm telling her, I'm spitting these things out. Now, you're not memorizing medication, but it's simple things. What does digoxin do to your heart? Slows down your heart rate. What does lorazepam do? If you have anxiety, it relaxes you. So if my heart rate is slowing and I'm giving a medication to relax you, you're gonna be super relaxed. Like, your respiratory system is going to be, what would I look for? You understand what I'm saying? It's little things like that. But again, that's the bigger picture. Again, when I tell you guys that you know more than what you're putting out, you know more than what you're putting out. Stop doubting yourself. And that's another thing that I personally have to stop doing, because you know it. Stop doubting yourself. Stop. Pick monics. So my school, with our, all my books are digital. So we have Lippincott, and we have a program called NurseStick. So we don't use the ATI book, but I do have the ATI book. This is, they had a bunch and brand new in boxes, and I said it was a free resource, so I took me a whole box. So this is the ATI book. Those of you know it. I don't use this book daily, so this book may not help you, but help me, or help us both. Depends on how you're looking at it. To get to the key points, I definitely looked in this book. Definitely looked in that book. Certain ATI books, but use your resources. So my school includes, in our Lippincott, is Picmonic, and it is great for auditory and visual learners. They have both. So pick a concept that you're learning. Oxygenation. They have an entire topic: how to remember the face mask, how to remember the breathing mask, how to remember how much oxygen each mask does, or, you know what I'm saying? It has little things. When I say that, I mean it's a little cartoon. They tell you, all right, this is the nitty gritty, this is what it is. And then they create a little story time for you. And the story time could have that, I mean, I think the Venturi mask was called Ace Venturi. Like, you know, Ace Ventura. I don't know. Could be dating myself. But it had things like that. And then when you think of Ace Ventura, you think of how he is, and he's like, it made sense. It put it all together. And it was a good, funny way to remember it. For me, so when I took my test, that's the things I was remembering. I would definitely suggest going to Picmonic, looking for those things. They have free Picmonics on YouTube, and I think there's a paid subscription. I'm not advertising for them. I'm just telling you what's available to me, how it's used, and I like it here. do what you want with that information. So Picmonic has worked great for me. I would definitely suggest looking at Picmonic. Going into YouTube, there are hundreds, if not thousands, of YouTube instructors, nurses that are good at teaching. For example, simple nursing. So we're learning about hyperthyroidism and hypothyroidism. So like you have to look for signs and symptoms. And what he did was, on one side for hyperthyroidism, he showed Tigger. Tigger's hyper as hell. So what his metabolism is, you think he gains weight? No, he's just hyper, always wants to eat, does not gain weight. Like, you understand what I'm saying? And then on the other side, they had Eeyore. Eeyore, as we know, is sad, he's moping, and they had Eeyore like standing on his hind legs, and he was fat. His metabolism slow. He is moving slow. His weight gain. Those simple nursing, Nurse Mike, let me tell you, yes. In remembering things, yes. And those are free resources. Now, he does have, I think, a paid subscription, but that's on the side. Whatever you can find on YouTube for free, find it, utilize it. I'm telling you, there's more than one way to skin a cat, okay? So if you need to memorize something and the normal way of you writing it ain't working and you need to see it, look on YouTube first. Guarantee you, look on YouTube first. There is someone explaining it and using things that we know and can relate to, so we can literally be on the test like, oh, I remember that. So definitely Picmonic. I told you guys, stop second guessing. So before your test, whatever exam you have, I'm gonna do not cram. Do not cram. Do not cram. So I have a final exam, right? No shade. There's no study guide. There's no this is what's gonna be on the test. All we know is that it's 100 questions. I've been in school for how many weeks, how many months? And all you're gonna tell me is 100 questions? How many? Now, my binder might be smaller or bigger than some people, but this is a 1-inch binder, stuffed. This was my first semester, entire first semester of nursing school. So you're telling me in a week. You understand what I'm saying? I literally have a week to figure out what these 100 questions might be, what can possibly be on the test, and I don't have a study guide or an inkling on what to look for. So, how you would do that? Study your lowest chapters. Whatever you scored low on, just study those, because obviously you got a high enough score to go and study in depth for your lowest chapters and review the ones that you got high on. And again, that's where I said the NCLEX book comes in handy, because again, they have topics and concepts, and they have questions. Prep yourself. Answer these questions. Look at the rationale behind these questions. Why isn't B right? Why isn't D right? Why is A the correct answer choice? They have that in that NCLEX Saunders book I'm speaking highly of. Look at it. I promise you, changes your life. Changes your life. Before you take the exam, let's say your exam is at like 2 o'clock in the morning or a few hours before, review. Don't sit there and say, oh my God, review. If you know you don't know those, the limits, the pH balance, you don't know your ABGs, look at them. Don't cram, look at them. Review. Have those things that you're unsure of refreshed in your mind. But also look over your notes. You're going in there, you're cooling. We're not studying up to the minute of the exam, because we need that breather. We don't want to cause no anxiety. We need to breathe, go in there with confidence, and leave out with confidence. Because trust me, again, there are people who can ace every exam without blinking twice. I'm not talking to you. You're gonna go in nursing school, you're gonna fail 1 or 2 exams. I failed. You know what I'm saying? And I was hard on myself because I really studied. But again, I had to find things that worked for me. So yes, while I'm a visual learner, sometimes I ain't have it all visual. While yes, I'm a hands-on learner, sorry, couldn't do that right now. Had to wait a whole week to get into lab. You understand what I'm saying? Sometimes we have to go around what we're comfortable with, go on that uncomfortable side, because we can learn so much more, guys. Like, really utilize your sources and take your time. If you have a unit like me where we had 3 units for 1 test, break it up. Don't sit there and try to learn all 5 units in 1 day. You will tire yourself. You will not retain anything. You will have 0 of your total recall. We want total recall. At least more than half of our total recall, okay? Break it up. Learn what you need to learn. Unit 1, dedicate unit 1 on this day. Dedicate unit 2 on this day. Unit 3 on this day. You finish your 3 units. Let's go back and review. I don't know if you guys have, Quizlet is good, but that's not what I was trying to say. But, like, we have a Prep U. So our Prep U is basically questions within the chapter, and it advances you. Basically, what you know, if you keep getting certain things right, it's kind of similar to the NCLEX. It'll advance you based on what you get right. I don't know if everybody has that, or what it's called with using, that's per what the school has. So like if you have ATI, I don't know what it's called, but use it. If you're with the Lippincott like me, it's called Prep U, use it. If you have those and that's not working, the Saunders book. And also in the Saunders book, there's a little scratch off where you can do it on as a mobile app. You can do it online on your tablet, on your phone. You can bring it with you and you can be studying those questions, and it'll tell you the same thing, why you got it wrong, why it's correct. There's so much resources, but because of how we study and we're trying to condense everything, and we're also panicking because everything's on fire and we're in nursing school. Also, I would say, I think I showed you guys in the beginning, like nursing school bundles that work. Yes, they work, but don't forget that you have them, because sometimes we can forget that we have those things available to us and now we're here. So I was using mine, but I see a lot of people will go all out. Like they would buy the flashcards, they would buy the books, they would buy everything, and it's collecting dust because you're not using them. Smarter, not harder. I'm not telling you not to buy them. I'm just telling you, think about yourself. Think about your learning style. Yes, oh my God, those would be helpful, but are you gonna use them? Like, let's be smart about this. Nursing school already costs an arm and a leg. Let's not waste things. 9 times out of 10, whatever's on your test is in the book that they gave you. Whatever's on the test will probably be in the Saunders book. They get questions from there too. Check your Quizlets. There will be Quizlets out there. Like, again, I have a final. There's how many units? You know? And I have to study, so I'm breaking down everything. What's the lowest that I got? I'm working on that, and I'm moving on, and I'm collectively like, okay, well, let's go back to the Prep U. Let me go in my Saunders book to review some of those questions on how to answer it. And now that I've read chapter 4 in my Saunders book on how to answer questions, I'm getting these questions that I've never. even if I don't know what the question is talking about, I'm telling you that Saunders book is a holy grail, and everybody's talking about it, but nobody talks about reading chapter 4. I don't know if it's chapter 4 for everybody, but nobody talks about reading the chapter where it literally explains how to answer these questions. Even if you're not a good test taker, like, it'll explain it. But I'm going to go back to studying. I hope these tips and tricks will help you, whether it be to just actually, it's the start of the new semester, come spring, well, come January. So congratulations to all you that got accepted to nursing school, who was on your next semester, going on to your next semester. Congratulations to everybody. Nursing school is not easy. Whether you made it or not, congratulations to you, because it's not easy. It is not easy. It is very time consuming, and shout out to you for making it this far. Tips and tricks. Sometimes you gotta spice it up, whatever works for you, but make sure at the end of the day, everything gets done. But I will check in with you guys after my exam, because I will cry in the corner regardless if I passed or not. So, see you guys later.